welcome to the Tabletop Games blog topic discussion.
Home is where the board games are. I feel that the board game hobby is great and that our community is wonderful. Board games bring like-minded people together. I know nothing is ever perfect, and we can't ignore the bad actors, but on the whole, board game people, if I may address you all this way, are great folk. Playing board games is my happy place, and I feel very much at home whenever I see board games. It's always lovely to see when your hobby becomes more mainstream and is accepted by society as something normal, rather than odd and nerdy. I know some of us are proud to be seen as nerds, or rather as board game nerds to be more precise, and that's great. At the same time, being seen as an outsider or outcast isn't so nice. I do feel that board games used to be seen as weird, but not in a good way. So it's good to see it's changing for the better. Given that the board game hobby has been, and to some extent still is, more of a nerdy thing, means that the people in the community have each other's back. Our nerdiness has created a close-knit community. Again, I know that's not completely true. I'm not blind to the toxic behavior that's still happening and needs to stop. But in this article, I want to focus on the positives. So, when my wife, daughter and I walked into the Thirsty Meeples cafe in Oxford and saw so many tables, all of which had happy people sitting around them, playing board games together, I immediately felt at home. I felt I could walk up to any of the tables, say hello, and ask them about their game or ask for a game recommendation. Of course, I didn't do that, because I didn't want to intrude on the happy time these people were enjoying in each other's company. Instead, we sat down and waited for one of the wonderful game gurus to come over and help us choose a game. We ordered our drinks and some food and got playing. We felt safe, surrounded by like-minded people, all of whom were having fun. There was such positive energy all around. The huge variety of games on all the tables was amazing. It was just glorious. When I came back from a quick comfort break, wearing my meeple mask of course, one of the other guests saw me and told me how much I liked the mask. It was really wonderful. Thinking about going to AirCon 2022, the first in-person board game convention I attended after the UK had first gone into lockdown, was an anxious time. I didn't know what to expect and how I would feel being so close to so many people in an enclosed space. Of course, it all turned out fine. The event organizers did everything they could to make people feel comfortable. You had to show a COVID pass or negative test, wear your mask unless exempt or sitting down to play, and there was plenty of ventilation, hand sanitizer stations and everything else. I felt really at home at the convention and was able to see so many of the people I previously only knew via social media. I loved talking to them, getting a demo of their game or generally catching up with people. Everyone was friendly and everyone wanted to enjoy seeing people in person again. I also always love seeing board games when I'm out and about. Of course, board game shops and cafes will have board games, but as the hobby has become more mainstream, you start to see modern games in other places as well. Long gone are the days when toy shops only stocked Monopoly, Clue and other classic games. Nowadays, there are many modern titles and not only Catan. Ravensburger's latest line of IP-based games has become much more commonplace in toy shops. Not only that, but modern games can also be found in bookshops, which is really amazing to see. So it's no surprise that more and more people play games together and that our community is growing. Board games are just a lot more visible now and hopefully there will be a self-propelling cycle of more people buying games, leading to more games being more widely available, leading to more people buying games. Board games are also a great way of connecting with people, of course. Not only do conventions allow you to make new friends through playing a board game together, but playing board games also allows us to get closer to our friends and family. Board games are a good way to find out more about a person's character. The type of games someone likes and how they act while playing can often reveal some clues as to who they are as a person. I found this with our neighbours. The first time we played board games together, I brought a selection just to see what would work and what wouldn't. It didn't take long to find suitable games that everyone was happy with. Now everyone feels more at home when we play something that everyone can get really into and get the most out of. It's also nice to spread the hobby further. It didn't take long after giving my wife's brother's family a modern board game as a present that they started to ask me for suggestions on what other games they might like. Soon after that, they found games for themselves and introduced us to games we hadn't played before. Whenever we visit them now, we will play one of their games with them, and not too long ago it was us bringing games to play. So we feel right at home now. Board games have also given my wife and me another way to connect with each other and spend time together. A quick game over lunch or a longer game in the evening with maybe a glass of wine is wonderful and gives us the chance to talk, either about the game or about us. I feel that our board game nights have brought us closer together. Board games can create a focal point that allows us to relax and open up. So what about you? Do board games also make you feel at home? What is it about the hobby that makes you feel so comfortable? Is it the games, the people, or something else? As always, please share thoughts on the blog at tabletopgamesblog.com. I would love to hear your story.
Thank you for listening to this Tabletop Games Blog topic discussion podcast. Please check the description below for links mentioned in this episode, as well as to the written version of this article on the blog. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, give us some stars, or leave a review. Please also tell your friends about me, and if you want to offer financial support, check out my Patreon and Ko-fi pages, links to which you'll find in the blog at tabletopgamesblog.com. So thank you again for listening, and I hope to see you again soon. This podcast was made possible by the generous help of my Patreon supporters.
Royal Patrons Nicholas Higgins and Sean Newman.
Magic Champion Zeb Hicks. Castle Guards David Miller and James Naylor. Dice Masters Alex Bardi, Paul Grogan and Robin Kay. And Shining Lights Gavin Jones, Sarah Reed, Richard Simpson and Tim Vernick.